Just a moment. Hope everyone is having a good day. It's Tuesday. It's the 21st of October. Man, this month is flying by. I'm looking for an image. I'm posting my writing for the day. I'm going to read my writing for the day. And then the lesson that it corresponds with. Hey, Sissy. Granite's Writing's Beautiful Soul Fam. And to you as well. Thanks for being here, Sissy. Hey, Miss Whipper. How are you? This is not my lesson for the day. Of course, it's all lessons for the day. That's the point. That's what we're going to get to. In my restarting of the workbook lessons, immediately after I finished 1 year through again, I'm at lesson 60, which is a review of the first 50 lessons, the last of the reviews. And then we start over tomorrow at lesson 61. However, yesterday and today, my attention was called to two lessons, 193, 194. I wanted to talk to 194 with Miss Whipper, but we didn't get around to it because we talk about all kinds of stuff. And it's always a beautiful conversation. Excuse me. This is what I wrote this morning. It's such a simple declaration, tucked away in lesson 193 of A Course in Miracles, and yet it contains the essence of what the Course would have us learn through the entirety of its teaching. The lesson itself is titled, All Things Are Lessons God Would Have Me Learn, a very valuable idea to keep in mind as a means to reframe any experience that's causing us pain, or keeping our thoughts ensnared in suffering long after the event has passed. But it's this line, repeated twice, that captures the spirit of the Course for me. Forgive, and I will see this differently. Such a gentle reminder that indeed, forgiveness will transform the entire world for me, with my perspective changing just as quickly as I'm willing to let go of my every judgment. This is the forgiveness that the Course offers, not bound by time, a transcendental moment of experiencing my original innocence within a holy instant, and all done by request. That's the lesson, truly, the only one given throughout the Course. Everything is surrendered over to the Holy Spirit, our right mind, and then innocence is immediately restored, a world transformed. Forgive, and I will see that this is so. So again, that was inspired by lesson 193, although originally I was going to write about lesson 194. Funny how that happens. Let me bring up my online version of the Course. Let me put my shoes on too. Hey, Kat. So I want to read lesson 193 and lesson 194. Maybe not in the entirety, but we're going to review it. Next week, I'm going to have a Course student, teacher, author up to talk, and it's going to be Monday. He's been practicing the Course since 1986, so probably 10 years longer than I have. And yet I watched a few of his interviews. He's appearing on the Sunday sermons with John Mundy, and I love John Mundy. And you just put it out there. I'd love to have John Mundy come up and talk. I'd love to have Marianne, as I'm making these declarations, I'd love to have Marianne Williamson come up and talk. Give me a second. I'm so impressed, overwhelmed. None of those words do it justice. When I see someone like Alan, he's the guy coming up next week, who is still so enthusiastic about his practice of the Course 40 years later. Isn't that amazing? I get the same thing from yogis. We had Tom Thompson come up a couple Fridays ago, and maybe about a month or so ago. He's been practicing yoga for probably 60 years, and he is so enthusiastic about talking about it as much as ever before. I've never gotten tired of the Course nor yoga, and to me, again, we talked about this with Miss Blipper, it's the same thing. If I say yoga, I mean A Course in Miracles. If I say A Course in Miracles, I mean yoga. It's the same exact thing. Sorry, I haven't even brought up my desktop to read the comments yet. Let me do that now. And the reason I'm so enthusiastic about this is because of the freshness that it brings in each and every moment. That's the amazing thing. Each moment that I'm able to forgive, that I practice, and the insights. I'm still getting new insights 30 years studying the Course. All right, where are we? One says, damn, you got to wear that shirt more often. You made me cough laugh. Brings the traps out. Kat says, good morning, beautiful Yogi. I love you. I love you too, Kat. Kat, did you see my comment I left on your chat? I might have left it too late for you. Cypher's heading back to bed, and it's a beautiful day out. Well, all of us from time to time need a little extra sleep. Let me put my shoes on, guys. I'm going to go out and take a walk. Today's easy workout day, just maybe 5 minutes worth of burpees. All right, what did I say? Lesson 193 to start with. So anyway, here's what I'm saying about that enthusiasm for the Course. There's a reason. Because every moment is a lesson. Everything that comes in your life is a lesson. What would you want to learn? And the Course helps point that out. The Course helps point it out that we can learn each moment what God would have us learn. And that is lesson 193. All things are lessons God would have me learn. So I could wallow in self-pity. Why me? Why is this happening? And I have. And I have recently. Until Kat literally grabbed me by my shoulders and shook me. See, she shook me so hard my glasses are permanently crooked. Or maybe she shook me so hard that one ear is now lower than the other. Thanks, Kat. Look what you've done to me. And not in so many words, but very gently said, all things are lessons God would have me learn. So it begins with, God does not know of learning. God doesn't need to learn. God. Yet his will extends to what he does not understand, in that he wills the happiness his son inherited from him be undisturbed, eternal, and forever gaining scope, eternally expanding in the joy of full creation, and eternally open and wholly limitless in him. That is his will, and thus his will provides excuse me, and thus his will provides the means to guarantee that it is done. So basically, the entirety of this course is saying all things are lessons God would have me learn. But as I wrote in my little tiny essay, forgive, and you will see this differently. It's repeated twice throughout this lesson 193. Forgive, and you will see this differently. Everything that is appearing in your life that you don't understand, forgive, and you will see it differently. Now remember, forgiveness is not, the Course calls it forgiveness to destroy. It is not bargaining. It is not bestowing. It's not saying, I forgive you because, or I will forgive you when, or I should forgive you, or I'd like to forgive you, or I can't forgive you. Forgiveness is recognizing my own holiness, my own innocence within the innocence of another, or recognizing their own innocence and thereby recognizing my own as well. That's forgiveness. Forgive and you will see this differently. Whatever it is, if someone is showing up on a live stream, pushing your buttons, forgive and you will see them differently. If someone is showing up in your outer life, anything, any opportunity, all of it is meant to be forgiven. Meaning, you see through the busyness of the world, you see through the pettiness of a person, including our own, and we keep asking to return to the original innocence of the moment itself. That's forgiveness. And we don't do it. We ask for help. We say, Holy Spirit, the Tao, Great Spirit, Krishna, Jesus, Mother Mary, Shiva, I don't know how to do this on my own. Help. I would like to see this differently. The last little line in lesson 193 that repeats, I will forgive, and this will disappear. That which is troubling you, that the perception of a person who is causing you pain or issues or any little upset. There are no small grievances. Everyone is equally disturbing to your peace of mind. I will forgive, and it will disappear. I do want to do lesson 194 a bit too. Let me dive in. Let me put my shoe on and dive into the chat. Samper says, my escape isn't avoidance, but it's just another journey. Kat says, Yogi, are you talking about the comment about just because the ego made the body doesn't mean you don't take care of the body? I am talking about that comment. Miss Pippa says, Kat is a mover and a shaker. She certainly is. Because I was talking in reference to imposed beauty standards. I'm just saying, Kat. Just saying. When I left it, it was in reference to supplements. And what was it that you said? Oh, you said what you love about the Course was that we are not a body, which is true. Which is true. Cat's about to poke me in the chest. Miss Pippa says, seeing no error, seeing the Christ, selective remembering of only loving thought. Yes. You know, of course, we do selective remembering in the opposite effect, right? Someone might have done 1,000 good things for me. Or someone might have done an entire lifetime of absolutely nothing to me and then only pissed me off once. And every time I see them henceforth, thereafter, which do you prefer? Henceforth or thereafter? What I selectively remember is how they pissed me off. I've recognized the grievance. I've recognized my judgment. I've had an entire lifetime of never encountering this person, and then they pissed me off one time, and now selectively I just remember that every time they come into a live stream, anytime they enter a room, anytime they show up in my life. Imagine that. Hey, Amanda. I'm laying in bed saying goodnight. Hope you're having a peaceful day and a delightful oatmeal breakfast. I have already had a delightful oatmeal breakfast. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for popping in. I hope you're feeling good, my friend. Henceforth. All right. Henceforth. Thereafter, I will always use the expression henceforth. How come henceforth is two words and not one? Why is thereafter one word and henceforth two words? And who gets to make these rules? How come I can't make my own grammar rules from now on? How come I can't make my own grammar rules henceforth? And when I say that, I'm saying it as one word. I'm taking a stand. I'm taking a grammatic stand right now, and I urge you all to join me, because this is going to turn into a movement. This is going to be big. This is going to be huge. The biggest thing I've ever done. And I invite you to join me. Get on the ground floor. Henceforth. My goal is to keep using that word throughout the day until it has no meaning, and I'm gonna put it in wherever it doesn't seem to fit. Henceforth, I will put it in wherever it doesn't seem to fit. And again, I invite you all to henceforth join me thereafter. Amanda says, love that smile. Thank you, Amanda. Simple says, so when I let go to the dualistic, does that mean a meaningless, that mean a meaninglessness at the moment in time? Interesting. First, I would say that we never let go of the dualistic. We don't never let go of our dual nature. It's an impossibility, because the dualistic nature is illusory. There is no dualism. It's imaginary. There's just one thing. What happens is we begin to see through the blocks of duality. We begin to see through the lens of spirit, rather than continuously and entirely through the lens of the body, which contains the ego. The body is an image made by the ego. It's part of the projection of our guilt. We might say, what am I guilty of? You're actually guilty of nothing. Yet we have an inherent guilt that we have somehow made ourselves separate from the entirety. That we have somehow made ourselves separate from the whole. Tiny speck of specialness in which there was no need to be special, because we were contained as the entirety of the universe. Purposely steering away from the saying God for those who don't like that term. But it all comes down to God, right? So when dualism itself is seen through, sometimes momentarily, sometimes if you have the great awakening completely, or almost completely, then everything is seen, all the stuff of the ego is seen as meaningless because it doesn't exist. However, with great, great tenderness and compassion, you realize that it still has meaning for everyone else. So you honor that. You never want to pull the rug out from someone when they're not ready, including yourself. That would be the nature of bypassing. We do, you can. We do, you can. This Swift says, ditto is finger in Italian. That makes sense. Digit, ditto. I speak Amanda language. I want to learn. I'm going to sign up for amazing Amanda speech lessons. Loves one child. Amanda says, good night to Sexy Squirrel. What's interesting is we can also love otherness. Yep, the appearance of another is really the appearance of self, right? Selfing. So what an awesome opportunity to learn to love that one self through the otherness of another. Each and every one of you guys show up every morning, and I get to learn to love myself through the appearance of the otherness of you. And some of you are really other. Some of you are more others than others. But henceforth, I will only see you as an aspect of my one self. That made no sense at all. I was stretching with that one. I admit I was stretching with that one. Sometimes I can take a rambling metaphor just one step too far. But hey, I only have about 8 minutes left, or thereabouts. You love our otherness. I do. Until you piss me off. And then, of course, when I realize it, when I realize why I'm truly pissed off, has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. Imagine that. I can use your otherness as a weapon, or I can use it as a means of love. Now we're back to what Sniper was saying about meaning. I have assigned meaning. Inadvertently, the ego assigns meaning as a means of hurt, punishing myself, and truly it's all self-punishment. I'm never punishing you. It might seem like it, but I'm punishing myself. Why? You might ask. You can't hear Kat saying right now because there are no others. Or I can celebrate myself through the appearance of your otherness. I get to assign that. I can choose the ego, which is going to say other is a sign, a flashing red light of hurt. Your specialness can confront my own specialness. If you're special, how can I be special? We can't all be special, can we? I know what you're saying, Yogi. You're very special. That's not what I'm talking about. Sniper says, Jason had a great guy on yesterday, a British X-radio DJ that talked all out simulation, mathematical constructs, and synchronicities. Interesting. Miss Pippa says, you love Beaver, Owl, and Fox. Still waiting to see you love Bobcat. Me too. I'm beginning to suspect maybe he didn't actually see a bobcat. Not because I'm seeing it, but because I haven't seen it. I know that makes no sense. Maybe it's pettiness. Maybe it's jealousy. Why did he get to see a bobcat and not me? The nearest place that we have bobcats, not that they're not spotted, about an hour away on the eastern shore, occasionally one is seen. If I head out towards the west, another hour or so, you might see one. I've known people who lived, I've seen one my entire life, and that was up in Pennsylvania. There might be people who live in an area that has a large bobcat population and they never see one ever. I talked to people out in Sedona, Arizona, where there's a lot of mountain lions, and they see signs, they see tracks, but they've never, their entire life, never seen a mountain lion. They're so elusive. Lynx are generally farther north. Probably the nearest population of lynx would be northern Pennsylvania, 5 hours away, 6 hours away. Hey, Life of Valley. Hello, my friend. Hello, Uncle Yogi. Hello, Allie. Thanks for being here. So, yeah, it could have been. Could have been a really big cat. House cat. You ever seen a Maine Coon cat? They're huge. Simple says, I see plenty of bobcat caterpillars, but it's only on the work sites. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Took me 1 second. Miss Pippa says, I love Maine Coons. Yeah, they're awesome looking cats. Miss Pippa says, deers. She got it. Let me dive in real quick. Lesson 194. This is an important lesson for me. I place the future in the hands of God. Today's idea takes another step towards quick salvation, and a giant stride it is indeed. This is Kenneth Wapnick was talking about the lawns of heaven. What a beautiful metaphor. Your foot has reached the lawns that welcome you to heaven's gate, the quiet place of peace where you await with certainly the final step of God. This also goes to the lawns of heaven would be the borderlands. Coming back to Kat, if she's still awake, if she's still with me. How close we are approaching our goal! Exclamation point. How short the journey, still to be pursued. Accept today's idea and you will have passed all anxiety, all pits of hell, all blackness of depression, thoughts of sin and devastation brought on by guilt. Remember, it's all guilt. Every little bit of it. This world, to use Sniper's preferred expression, this simulation has all been brought into existence by our feeling of guilt that we are special in a specialness that excludes each other and God. And there is no such thing as that specialness. The tiny mad idea that crept into the mind of God, in which we forgot to laugh, was based upon specialness. What would it be like if I were my own creator? If I were separate from you? And if I could create not just myself, but I could create an entire universe, much the same in which God did, the original and only creator. Remember, we are ideas within the mind of God, and we have been blessed with the functions of creativity the same way that the mind of God, the original mind of God, has, except for one thing. We will never be able to create ourselves because we have already been created by God. And yet, we wondered, and it was a brief thought, a flash in the mind of God, of which we are ideas, and we felt so guilty for even having that thought, that tiny mad idea, and we forgot to laugh and big banged ourselves into a universe of separation, seemingly so, an illusion so deep that we believe it and we experience it and we are living it. And yet right now we're actually asleep in the mind of God. Simulation or otherwise, none of it exists. Here's what exists: the mind of God, in which you are and you get to create. However, we've been miscreating, and here we are. Let's fix it. So, I place the future in the hands of God. I wish I could just say that and then accept it fully, because I need to. That's been my repeated lesson over and over and over again. Right now, there seems like there's some very troublesome times. On the home front, on the work front, which is YouTube, right? Seems like troublesome times. And yet, if I could just place the future in the hands of God, I do, and then my own tiny mad idea creeps in the head and tells me otherwise. Speaking of fixing, let's fix that too. Henceforth, I will put my future in the hands of God thereafter and forever. Amen. Will you ever sing the Big Bang song? That's a question we need to ask Lucy when she pulls cards. The future is uncertain. Let me shake my magic 8-ball, my imaginary magic 8-ball, and it says, the future is uncertain as to me ever singing the Big Bang song. I don't think I could sing fast enough. Snippet says he actually saw the cogs tick. We probably heard it too. They move exceedingly slow nowadays. Yes, I do have an imaginary 8-ball, magic 8-ball. Whenever I shake it, the answer is the same, and it says, don't ask me, I'm just an imaginary magic 8-ball. Simply says, some say events in reality can be seen in TV films or shows like The Simpsons, and say it's pre-programming us with a certain agenda, what we actually write into this life as a script. What I find hilarious, let's see, the simulation, and call it synchronicity. Interesting. Sissy says, what I find hilarious when I open a jar of no-stir peanut butter, and the first thing I have to do, I know, stir the oil back and the nuts before spreading it on my toast. Agreed. False advertising. Making me work like some kind of a chump stirring my own peanut butter? What's up with that? If you ever see me a brace on my elbow and people are like, is that tennis elbow? Is it a, strain from kettlebells? And we're like, no, that's from having to pre-stir my no-stir peanut butter. How's that for getting old? When you have a peanut butter stirring injury, that's when you know, man, that's the final step. If you got to go to rehab and the doctor's like, so really, what happened? Did you take a fall? Was it through working out too hard? Were you, I don't know, whatever? You're like, no, I pre-stirred my peanut butter. And I wasn't supposed to, and I didn't warm up properly. When you have to wake up and warm up in order to pre-stir your peanut butter, it's a bad sign. God loves you just the same. Miss Pippa says, new political party, chumps with peanut butter. So we're about to get political. Halloween. Sort of. We're going to talk A Course in Miracles and social engagement. How engaged are we supposed to be? Are we supposed to be? Course says explicitly, do not seek to change the world. Seek to change how you see the world. But also, it does not say don't be involved in the world. It doesn't say that anywhere. It just says that true, meaningful change isn't going to happen by arranging the effects. It only happens by addressing the cause. And the cause, remember, is fear, the belief that we are separate from each other and separate from God. Political. Political-ish. Miss Pippa says, forgiving the world. Yes. So how do we forgive it unless we're involved in it? I think that's what our guest Emily might have to say. I don't want to preempt her message, but I think she would say, how do we forgive it if we're not involved in it? If I don't have that political thought disturbance, how do I forgive it? I don't know. Kat says, I actually cannot wait for Emily to come up. Me too. She was so gracious. Next guest, Marianne Williamson. Magic 8 Ball says, let's make it happen. I hope you guys actually help me imagine that Magic 8 Ball. What I need to do is the people who come up who know Marianne Williamson, one of which is Emily, who will be up on Monday. Actually, next Monday's guest, Alan Ishak. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He knows Marianne Williamson. So let's just put it out there. Miss Pippa says, I already did like 4 times. I appreciate that. I did struggle to stir because of the fatigue right now. And being on the mend is awesome. And so is peanut butter toast. Man, you took it a step too far, sissy. You had me all the way up until peanut butter toast. And then, man, you went henceforth. You went henceforth on me. What's up with that? What's the opposite of henceforth? Right? There's got to be a word. There's got to be a word that takes us back. How do we unhenceforth? Unhenceforth. There's the word. De henceforth. De henceforthify. You heard it here first. We're going to de-henceforthify, take a giant step backwards, unhence ourselves, stepping back in the gate in the great unhencefulness of the universe itself. Even takes off, make it an odd like. Miss Pippa says, gonna lasso Williamson. I think she would enjoy our company, right? I know she would love Miss Pipper, and she would love Cat, and she would love Sissy. She would love Sniper. I know she would probably tolerate me. Fairly certain of that. Magic 8 Ball says, don't bet on it. Jeez, even my Magic 8 Ball's turning on me. Henceforth, or hence fifth. Well, hence fifth would be in the future, right? We need to go back to hence third. We need to hence thirdify ourselves. We're stepping back, guys. Sissy is laughing. Hey, our friend Jesse is doing his live stream right now, Fast Energy, as is Jamie Brown. If you guys want to go hang out with either one of them, we're going to be wrapping things up in just a minute. Miss Pippa says, count on it and leave that poor ball. All right, here I am. I'm setting it aside. It's staring at me, though. Omnihence. Man, that's an awesome expression. Sniper, you need to coin that term. You need to trademark. Omnihence. Ever present. That was perfect. Sissy says, although it's harder to physically laugh, I'm enjoying it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Hey, hopefully laughter is going to help mend even quicker, even faster. I've invited Jesse up. Jesse said to someone, how could you be late when all time happens at the same time? He might be a great guest. I'd love for Jesse to come up. It'd be fun to talk to him and his wife, Lori, at the same time. Jesse has sent some great people over here. He's mentioned my channel like at odd times. It's pretty cool. Omnihence, copyrighted, trademarked. Squirrel Sniper Incorporated. Wait a minute. Does that mean I have to pay you royalties whenever I use it now, Sniper? Damn it. You should have kept my mouth shut. I should have just quietly nodded and then stole the idea for myself. Ever since. Sissy, I hope you're feeling better today than you were yesterday. Sissy says, if anyone was interested, I'd a bit of spoken word inspired by A New Earth and grounding. Of course, we're all interested. It premieres in 44 minutes. I might be able to catch the tail end, but definitely will replay it. You can pre-hit the like button. Pre-like. I'm going to watch some of Emily's videos today. I'm going to watch some of videos today. I should have watched some more of my friend Martin, who is supposed to be up this evening, I think. This afternoon, Tuesday, is just going to be a regular old let's talk, hang out, and do what we're doing now, live stream. Semper says, it's Omni. We pay with intentions. Gotcha. I'm in. Omnihence. What a perfect word. Soul just means it's moving. Physically, I do feel better, but the cough is worse. Hey, if you ever want to, Kat, if you're ever in Jesse's live stream and you want to mention, hey, would you ever consider being a guest? Put that out there. Jesse's amazing, and the fact that, well, we all know his workouts are amazing. They're impressive. Here's what's amazing about Jesse is it could have gone horribly wrong. It could have gone really, really, really bad. How much worse could it be than being on drugs and going to prison? Sounds pretty bad, right? How about getting out of prison and going back on drugs and going back to prison? It could have gone so many other directions for him. Instead, he, metaphorically, shook himself by his shoulders and said, nope, wake up. Let's do things differently. Changed his life around. He has a beautiful channel, inspiring so many people to show for it. Jesse should be an inspiration for all of us. Semper says, you can see Jesse has worked hard on himself. Yes, on his inner self. Yes, absolutely. I think Jesse had an innate sense, and then he probably fortified it with the right books, the right teachers, knowing that if he didn't make that inner work, his true profession, then anything he did out here wouldn't matter. That he could get stronger, he could work on his body, he could do, the traditional self-help, positive thoughts only, positive vibes only. But unless you made that commitment to, as Sniper said, recognizing that inner self, makes no difference. None. All right, I should head out, take my walk. We're looking for bobcat and maybe hanging with the beavers and maybe seeing a fox. Problem is, every fox that I see is before daylight right now. We're at that odd time where, the sun is coming up later, but people still have to be out and get ready for work or get ready for school. So people are still out even though it's darker, and it's disturbing nature from wanting to be out. Semper says, just having questions is key to starting out, as ego hates the questions which are not easily accessible. Miss Semper says, for fishbowl friends and fans, remember, whenever you question your values, say, God himself is not complete without me. Beautiful. I always go back to Anthony Robbins. Not one of my favorite teachers. Occasionally some good stuff, right? You never know where you're going to get something valuable from. It says the quality of your life is reflected upon the quality of your questions to yourself. Want a better life? Ask yourself better questions. Kat says, Jesse said yes, he would consider it, and then he said it's actually already happened in all reality. Wow. So it's already happened, and I don't even remember it. I need to get busy remembering to make it happen, because it's already happened. Jesse's a profound guy. Really, really appreciate him. Him and his wife, and he sent his community over to support when our friend Allie Bird, came up and shared her story. And man, what a story it was. She came up and she shared her story, and Jesse and his wife showed up to support. Awesome. Miss Flipper, one of my all-time favorite lines, which is similar to what you just said, God thinks otherwise. I wrote about that just the other day. God thinks otherwise. Every negative thought we've ever had about ourselves, every negative thought we've ever had about another, God thinks otherwise. We remember that, nothing else needs to make sense. God thinks otherwise. I think that I'm separate from you. I think that I'm separate from God. I think that I'm undeserving. I think that I've ruin my original innocence. I think that I am small and petty. I think that I am so immersed in illusion there's no way to escape. I think that it's a fearful life, that I'm a failure. And I have all of these thoughts every freaking day. And I've been doing this for 30 years or more. And yet, I also know deep in my heart, in the very essence of my soul, God thinks otherwise. God thinks otherwise. God doesn't even entertain any of those thoughts that I just had. Not a one. Miss Pippa says, Course in Miracles, are you more interested in the question or the answer? It's only one answer. That's the beautiful thing about the Course. There's only one answer. Did you just see what happened? I was headbutted by a fruit fly. Did you guys catch that on film? I was literally headbutted by a fruit fly. And it was probably one of the fruit flies whose ancestor that I actually saved from drowning. I literally performed CPR on a fruit fly, two of them, to keep him from drowning. And I was mocked by a certain someone who said, you know, it's only going to come back and bite you in the ass. I don't want to say who that certain someone is, but she's here on this live stream and she has red hair. She's absolutely beautiful. Could be anyone. Miss Pippa says, you are very holy, and this is a holiness encounter. This is a holy encounter. Pippa says, always a question or answer. Kat says, I know, I keep finding those suckers in weird places. I thought they were supposed to be gone by now. Are they ever really gone? This one, man. What a vicious headbutt just came up. All right, I gotta go. I will still save my fruit flies. Be kind to everything. No exceptions. Everything. Be kind to everything. Now, don't get lost in the nature of that kindness. Don't think being kind to everyone means giving your last dollar. It might, it also might not. Being kind to everything and everyone also means being kind to yourself. You might need that last dollar for a banana. And that banana might contain an infinite number of fruit flies that come out and hatch and headbutt you in the nose. Regardless, from henceforth, we will be kind to everything and everyone. All right, I love you guys. See ya.